Yeah, that's right. You read the thumbnail and the title right. There's a message out there, and I think it's subtle, but it's true. Patrick Mahomes is letting the NFL know, be very, very scared. If you're going to poke the bear, you're going to get what you get. I think yesterday is still under the radar for the national media. We're going to go over Patrick and his performance and what it means for this team. A lot to that. This is the guy you don't want to get angry. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is Dan Harms. We are RGR Football, as well as the rest of our crew, and Seth and Gary, and all the guys that contribute around here. But tonight is your show. This is the Q&A. So we're going to answer every single one of your super chats and most of your questions in the chat. If you put some question marks before them, we will definitely be easier for me in particular to pick out, because I have some issues with it. Now, this is the main story for me, and then we're going to get into all the questions. If you guys do want to support the channel, the super chats are the way to go. The next easiest way to go is to do one of these. The Chiefs Kingdom hats are out, Rogue Nation.
Let's
you
go.
can get them on the store right now, and grabbing some of the newer stuff definitely helps us. You can get the hats right here, along with the We Own the West shirts and hoodies. Everything is out and available right here at RGR-store at creator-spring.com. You can find that in the link in the description here. So check that out. That's an easy way to support us as well. And we do appreciate all of that. Tonight, we're going to get to your super chats and your questions. If you would, just go ahead and stack those up, because I do want to talk about this for a minute, because efficiency is one thing. I think, honestly, I think the NFL world gets a little bit tied up in efficiency. That's what EPA is all about. That's what everybody quotes every week about who did what. And it's generally expectation. It's all about efficiency. And I think that sometimes takes people down a path that gets away from the fact that there are some guys in this league that can just say, I'm not going to let that happen. Dead body games, whatever you want to call them. I think Patrick, in having maybe his worst game in, 3 seasons? The week before, came back when was his most efficient. I thought it showed not only maturity, but I thought it should scare the rest of the league, because if they've been banking on him taking his chances and not being able to be professional and deliberate and controlled, that game should have proven that's out the window. He can do it when he has to, and you guys can't use that against him anymore. I think that's going to be critical down the stretch. How do you feel about his game again, a day removed?
I love it. I mean, I've been busy all day. I've been with my daughter celebrating her birthday. But, you get to think about it. Looking back on yesterday, that game goes relatively unnoticed from just about everyone, in terms of, the Chiefs were all over trying to just eke out a win against the Houston Texans. No one really paid attention to the fact that Patrick he literally set the highest completion percentage ever recorded in the NFL of above 40 attempts ever. That's it. And he did it without Tyreek Hill again. Like, that's the thing. He's doing this with a new group of wide receivers outside of Travis Kelce.
That's the big thing. And we're going to talk MVP versus everything else this year. The odds turned again. Patrick is now in the lead again for the odds to win MVP. The voters are the voters, and I don't know that Vegas always has that right. But I'm sure you guys are going to bring that up. I'm not going to dive into it yet because I'm sure it's coming, but we are going to get there. Hey, Terry, hope you're doing well, and hey to everybody out there. I'm stacking up your questions now so we can get into it. But that's the thing, is like, whatever the conversation becomes, MVP or not MVP, that was the whole thing, was, we are going to be able to bait Patrick Mahomes into playing poorly because he doesn't have Tyreek Hill, because he's not going to be able to settle down and be, honestly, I mean, we're talking this season, he should be throwing like a veteran. We still have to have the creative things. We still have to have the edge that he is. But now, if you can settle it down, teams have been banking that he wouldn't, that he wasn't mature enough to be controlled. And I think this is the ultimate thing that should scare the crap out of everybody else in this league, particularly if you're a playoff team that has to face him this year. And he's got grudges right now against the Bills and against the Bengals. And I think he can make some up against the other teams, to tell you the truth.
Doesn't really matter.
I mean, it's a fear factor, and I think it's underrated in the league a lot. How do you take that and roll that into how they should pursue making that even more of a plus for them?
It's going to be difficult because we've kind of seen Patrick be the one that has the ability to do that. I don't think the team does. And unless this is a final wake-up call for the rest of the team, like unless it's like, okay, we have to start finally kind of getting ready for the postseason because we've been sleepwalking the last 2 weeks, and they've almost lost to two very inferior opponents in the Denver Broncos and the Houston Texans, 1-win football team. Come
Texans,
on.
baby.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Something has to wake up this football team unless they are very okay with sleepwalking through the rest of the season and just making it into the postseason and then turning it on. That's not usually a recipe for championships. I know that there are some people, some talking heads out there that will say when you show up to games, you don't have your A game and you still find a way to win. That's how championships are made. No, that's not true. Especially when you're sleepwalking, it's not because you just you're not executing well that game. They're sleepwalking. They come out and they don't play football for the first quarter of a game. And some things happen that way. So I will disagree with that. We have seen the teams that get hot going into December, into January, are the ones that make deep playoff runs for the most part. That's been what we've seen. And unless you start to get hot and on your very first postseason game, which we know that the Chiefs can do that. I think that just getting to that level of play and then is much more what's the word? Something you can replicate much a little bit more easier than having to say, okay, here's the playoffs. We have to execute at 100%. Like that just doesn't feel like it's something you could just, okay, we're going to start playing 100% level now.
Consistent repeatability is what one of my coaches used to call it.
Yeah.
Be able to execute the same block 10 different ways. And yes, folks, you can tell that I used to block for other people because I have no pass catching skills. Never have, to tell you the truth. I deal with bodies, not objects. That's just the way that it goes. But that's really what it comes down to. And being able to obviously raise and lower your level of play. Yes, there are different ways that you can win. There are ways where you don't have to dominate and still get through. I feel that that's a little bit what this team relies on a little too much.
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of waiting. I think they're holding back a little bit until, right about post-Christmas. Because I think the 17th game actually extends the season enough that they don't feel the urgency quite yet. But when they do, they feel that exactly what you said, that they need to get hot when they need to get hot. And that's when they're going to turn it all on.
Yeah.
I think this consistent game, this controlled game that Patrick showed us the other day, I think that's really the key to being able to manage the ups and downs and turn it on when you want to. I think that's more about control for me. I honestly, I'm kicking myself a little bit. And thanks to Tony Haber, I appreciated your email today, buddy. Very much appreciated. I'm kicking myself a little bit for not giving Patrick enough credit last night. In our post-game remarks, the initial, it was more disappointment than it should have been, and probably not enough elation for me for understanding what he had accomplished. I looked at completion percentage. I'm like, okay, yeah, I've seen him throw 80+% before.
Yeah.
But, I didn't give it the credit that it's due, and that's what I want to make sure that I get back here. If you guys would hit the bell and hit that thumbs up, we would appreciate you guys. Let's see. Yeah. Ding, ding. Just to quote Apollo Creed. Let's see. Terry's got a question. Please don't let Sammy Hurt Watkins come back again. I have gotten this ad nauseum this afternoon. Yeah. There's no way that I bring Sammy back. I like him personally. I think he's a groovy dude. I can't say I understand him all the time, but he's definitely out there. And I like his game as it was. I don't think he has that game anymore. I don't think he has enough to offer to bring him back.
You're not wrong. The guy that was in Kansas City was removed from the guy who was in Buffalo and even LA to an extent. Yeah. And the guy that was in Kansas City, he no longer is anymore. But apparently my camera does not want to cooperate.
So the camera has gone the way of Sammy Watkins and broken down. That is the way that goes.
Don't trust it.
No, that's it. That's exactly the way. Okay, there you go. That was nearly perfect timing. So,
it was nearly perfect. You're not wrong.
That is awesome. And I forgot to mention, you guys, if you are going to grab these hats and the new gear, all the codes expired last night because it was a one-day thing on the sale day. There's a new one up there. 7 AFCW is still functioning, and so there's a sneaky one, Kingdom. It's just not on the banner anymore. So use that as well, and that'll get you some dollars off on the new gear. From Dez, is this year's defense better, worse, or the same than the Super Bowl 2 years ago? Have you done comparisons yet?
I haven't, but my eyes tell me that it's worse. And that's largely based on the fact that they don't take the ball away.
That is the big category.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree with you. I see it better in some ways and worse in others. I'm not as worried about getting gashed against the run or letting some team that is clearly inferior, like the Tennessee Titans, run you into the ground enough to steal a win. I'm not concerned about that any longer. But you're right. Not being able to take the ball away on defense is huge. Not being able to seal the deal and stomp younger, less experienced, and quite frankly, inferior teams is the problem on offense. So the defense in particular, I do feel like there are some sparks and there are some minuses. The linebackers were targeted, I think, 6 or 7 times combined yesterday and allowed 100% completions. That is a bit of a concern because I think it's going to become a game plan item for most playoff teams now. That's how they're going to choose to start. I'm not super concerned only because the yak allowed was very, very small. They made solid tackles and they didn't miss a ton. And I'm talking mostly about Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. So yes, there were completions allowed, but it didn't kill them. And I don't think that that's necessarily an Achilles heel. Do you?
I don't either. And again, I think that we focused a lot about how they did whatever they wanted to at times, but a large part was was third down phantom calls. Multiple third down phantom calls that extended drives for the Houston Texans, allowing them to get into the top, inside the 10, inside the 5-yard line, and then get touchdowns. So I noticed Willie Gay's tackling the last 2 weeks has been improved. It's been going up. He's been getting better. I think he's getting some understanding of his pursuit angles down a little bit better. So that's nice to see. But again, they are still, in my opinion, allowing far too much in the middle of the defense. And the previous years, it's been too much on the outsides. So now I think they've done a good job of clamping down for the most part on the outside and deep down the field. And it's kind of circumvented into the middle of the field. So they're going to have to figure that out. But I think at the end of the day, you're more okay letting some of these underneath throws in the middle of the field happen because there's far more people that can get to it. There's far more people that can find their way to that, limit yak, and hopefully maybe you get incompletion, you get a hand on the football, you get batted pass, lead the league in batted passes. So I think that we're kind of seeing what they're trying to do stylistically, and from a talent standpoint, they're like, we got guys on the outside, we can play deep. Let's hope if we're not going to get to the quarterback, we get our hands up, and if the ball ends up going in the middle of the field, they rally, tackle. I think that's the style that they want to play this year. At least that's what I've really been led to believe so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, and that is indicative of a defense that doesn't feel they have the one-on-one matchups or that they'll get them to take advantage of them. So you have to play it that way, and that will work. That will get the job done so that your offense can do what it does. It just has to be consistent, and it's just been too close for comfort lately. Comfort is what it is. If it hadn't been an overtime game, if this game had ended in regulation with the same score, I think we would feel a little bit differently. It was allowing them to push past regulation time. Red, that code is 7 AFCW. I should have put title in there, but I like short codes because it makes things easier. So 7 AFCW. And that's exclusive for you guys here on RGR. People who don't watch the stream ain't ever going to know. So they may see it on social media or something else, but they won't get that discount because you guys are the real deal, and I appreciate you. We have the next thing I think is it a small birthday child? Because there's a lot of people saying happy birthday. Was today actually her day?
Yes, today was her birthday. So we went to the aquarium in Springfield, Missouri, spent all day down there, and we just got home like 5 minutes before live went. And so
nice.
She's going to be getting ready for bed, watching her movie because, she's tired and she is cranky. So we're going to let her calm down a little bit while she enjoys the rest of her birthday day.
That's awesome. Shout out to my friends at Boulevard. Wanted to say hello. I know I wasn't partaking like Dan was the other night. It was not a slight. I just have to be amongst my wits when I'm talking.
All I'm saying is that you guys have a very easy promotion right here. I just have beers of Boulevard in my house. Just call me. We can work this out. Okay.
And hey, we can set something up too. And for you guys too, if you don't know, I do run RGR Craft as well, where we talk about craft beer, whiskey, and wine too. I have a series going right now on an advent calendar of all whiskeys. And so Boulevard, we can tie that in really nicely. And you guys, I think some of you may enjoy that too. If you're not one for drinking, not a problem. But if you are, just thought I'd tell you, it's called RGR Craft. If the playoffs started today, would we play the Dolphins, who matches up with the Chiefs best out of all the AFC teams? I believe, if I saw last night correctly, and I'll try to pull it up again, the Dolphins had not fallen to the bottom.
I didn't think so. I think it's still the
Patriots, I think. Even
though they lost, yeah.
Yeah, I'm refreshing that right now. Because of all the tiebreakers and everything. It may have been that way. No.
It's the Chargers, isn't it?
It is not. The Chargers are 6th. It is the Dolphins in 7 right now. Akia, you are absolutely right. So I know there's obviously a couple of weeks to go. We don't know who's set. I kind of feel like the Jets are going to get back in. And I'll tell you the team, Dan, I don't know if you agree with this. I think the team that might make the run and get into the playoffs as a wild card is Jacksonville.
Oh, yes. I don't think that, honestly, I don't think they're going to be a wild card. I think they're going to win that division.
Really? You think so? Okay.
I think Tennessee is that bad and Jacksonville is that good that they're going to run the table and they're going to win that division.
They're one game back, right? And do they play the Titans again?
I believe they have one more game against the Titans.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but I believe they do.
That could very, very well happen. Right now, it is the Chargers in there. And I don't know how you guys feel, but for me, I would rather avoid the Chargers in the playoffs, to tell you the truth, just because of what Keenan Allen and Mike Williams have been able to do since they got back together. They are both together on the field better than either of them is individually.
You're not wrong.
Okay. All right. I keep waiting for you to disagree with me, but that's okay.
The problem for me is that they match up better because they play their best against the Chiefs. The apex of the Chargers was always a very high competitor, but they don't bring that every week. I don't know if you guys watched the game against the Titans last week. Justin Herbert didn't throw a touchdown pass. Okay. Like, they come to play their A game, against the Kansas City Chiefs throughout the entire season. I don't think that there's any game that they played better than maybe outside of maybe the Miami Dolphins game than they did against the Chiefs in both games without Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and together on the field in both of those games. So it's a little worrisome because I think that their style, playing physical, tough man coverage against these wide receivers, it does work. And Andy's want to not run the football against one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL leans into what they're good at in terms of defending the pass. So the Chargers, I think, to answer the question, match up the best of any team outside of maybe the Bills in the postseason. But the first round, the Chargers are the one that match up the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Miss Holly, Miss Rachel, glad to have you on board. Kevin, thank you for your super chat. Appreciate you. I'm going to go back and look for a comment because I didn't see one here. But I do want to make sure that we get you something for it. Thanks for the support, buddy.
Appreciate you, Kevin.
We're going to go back. We have a draft question, and I think it's
all right.
Maybe it's because of a fumble. I don't know. There's a lot of that. Sean Tucker, Israel, and Kenny McIntosh were available. Who would you take? My favorite's Kenny, but that's me.
So I do like Kenny a lot. And again, Georgia running backs have a very good history in the NFL. Like, it's well known. And I think if I were to list it, I have 1A and 1B. Kenny would be 1A, Israel would be 1B, and then Tucker would be the C or the B pick for me. I'm not a huge fan of his game. I think that he's fast in the ACC. I think he's okay in the NFL.
Right.
And I think everything else is kind of lacking for him, in my personal opinion.
And I have to be honest, I have not watched any of them, all 22. That's just where I've caught from live broadcasts. So I have a very small sample size on each of those guys. It just so happens I have family that are Georgia Dogs. So I see a little bit more of Kenny and
Yeah.
guys that play for them. So thank you, Paul. And Paul is another one. I've heard Dan say Spag's philosophy does not fit the modern NFL. Could you elaborate, please?
Absolutely, Paul. Thank you for the question. I know that some people come in, they hear bits and pieces, and this is a good one for everyone to get kind of equated to. So if you didn't hear last night, I kind of did a little very big summary. Just Spags' defensive philosophy with his front four. This is the biggest gripe that I have. The biggest gripe that I have stylistically, he wants big defensive ends, defensive tackles that honestly are like middling between two gapping and I don't even know what you would call it. Like they don't really do a great job of two gapping all the time either. They can't really do it. They can take some doubles at times, but they also don't have much upside in pass rush typically. But they want to collapse.
They're corner crushers, not corner benders.
Yeah, exactly. What I mean stylistically is that their rush paths, their rush plans are largely based on collapsing a pocket. It's not about winning quickly. And in the NFL today, the ball comes out faster than it ever has. It comes out more accurate than it ever has. And if you want to throw and get quarterbacks off their spot and force more inaccurate throws, which lead to more interceptions, you need to win quicker. If you saw Davis Mills multiple times yesterday, who's not the most athletic quarterback in the world, sit in the pocket. Sit there.
Yeah.
And I understand that they've got, Laramie Tunsil, their offensive line's been better this year overall. Go back, watch every single week. Quarterbacks are sitting in the pocket and they are dicing up the middle of the field for the Chiefs. They can't collapse a pocket. They can't move a guy off their spot. They don't win quick enough. They don't win fast enough, and they don't do enough in the bending, the cornering department, in my opinion, that can force quarterbacks to throw the ball before they're ready, before they want to, and more inaccurate throws. That when I say his stylistically, that's really what I'm talking about. I love what he does with the safeties. I love moving them around, and I don't care so much about playing one-on-one on the outside. I think they have enough talent at corner now to facilitate that, and I think that we're kind of seeing it. But when you have more time to throw and you're not forcing quarterbacks off their spot and you're not getting home with four consistently enough, it leads to more completions and less interceptions.
Yeah. It's less opportunity to even get a chance at it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I agree. And there were the pendulum swings back and forth. Who has the advantage? Some years in honestly of late until maybe the last two seasons, it has been the more stout four-man fronts that have had the advantage. But now it's swinging back the other way. The run's coming back. You want to be a little bit more athletic. You need to be able to get to the quarterback quicker because of the quick game that everyone is employing now. It makes things more difficult. And if you're not going to have A-gap pressure from your defensive tackles, and pass rushing D tackles are even harder to find, you got to have guys that can come off the edge quick. And that's really what it comes down to. If you guys would like and subscribe, thank you for putting that out. FLDB is in the house, one of our moderators. I think Aaron was in here. I'm not sure if he still is, but shout out to our guys that are monitoring the chat. Thanks for your support, guys. We always appreciate that.
Always appreciate it.
And everybody give them a clap if you would. Not the clap, a clap. Let's see. Free my boy Chiefsaholic. Robbing banks isn't that bad. Okay.
So Chiefsaholic is the wolf costume guy on Twitter and the ones that you see at the games. And he has been arrested for robbing a bank in his wolf costume. Yeah, I literally just learned about that 10 minutes ago.
Hard to blend in that way.
And I'm not I understand that a lot of you know him on Twitter, and he's been a really nice guy. I'm not trying to make fun of what he does and anything like that, but you got arrested for robbing a bank, man.
Yeah. I got nothing. I had no idea. Tyler, are you surprised Pacheco was a top vote getter as a return specialist for the Pro Bowl? I have not been impressed with him aside from one run back. Honestly, one run back can make an impression on voters. Again, this is fan voting. This is not the league. That is another component of it. And I clearly have got something. Excuse me. No, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, that's kind of been a string, right? I mean, since Jalen Ramsey thought Tyreek Hill was just a punt returner or whatever, like it's been kind of a string for Kansas City to have specialists in that role. Now, the other specialist is what I'd rather have right now. I got to tell you, We're going to talk about that here in a minute, and I know you guys have questions. I don't have a ton of answers, but I'll give you my opinion. Cole, thank you. Another one of our moderators. Everybody give Cole a hand. What would you think of all the talk that Bucker needs to be replaced? My feeling, he's not 100% recovered from his injury. We said it last night pretty succinctly. Replacement talk is not only early, it's kind of ridiculous. I agree he's not 100%. And given what Terry's talking about, and Cole, I'm not trying to rush off of your comment.
Yeah.
This is here too. Why is Cole Quitt blaming Tommy? Cole Quitt is a guy who did this job for 15 years. I didn't take it personally when I read the comments as him trying to throw Tommy under the bus. I think he was more trying to defend Harrison and say, listen, things are not optimal for him in any way. And he's a guy that would know. So for me, I didn't take it as like trying to throw blame. I took it as him trying to illuminate everybody out there. He was talking to Mark Boerichter, I think, at the time. So, like, talking player to player, like, this is the thing. This is the reality of it. I didn't take it as throwing him under the bus, but Coco would know a hell of a lot better than I ever would. The thing that I take away from it, Dan, and what I want your opinion is, if Dustin can see it from the broadcast, why hasn't Toe been able to fix it? That's the big question. Because Chad Henne's on this roster, and he's done it before. You have another option if you need it.
We've now seen that Dave Toub is maybe even more stubborn than Andy Reid is. Not moving Sky Moore off punt return duties after maybe the first or second problem is an indication. Now we are seeing Dustin Colquitt, who again is a Hall of Fame punter, by the way. I don't know if he ever gets in, but he's a Hall of Fame punter. I wrote an article about this when I first started doing this.
Nice.
He is a Hall of Fame punter if you look at all the statistics. Also, he like Ryan said, he's been doing the holding for 15 years. He just couple screenshots shows you, oh, we got a ball that's a little wonky, moving off to the side. We have laces inside, laces outside. These things are not consistent. I'm going to trust, again, a Hall of Fame player who did it for 15 years, far more than my own personal understanding of what you're supposed to do at a hold, okay? Obviously, not only was he doing it for that long, but he was under Dave Toub for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is him finally trying to get out there and say, this is enough. Something has to change, because he hasn't said a word up until now. And, they just changed Sky Moore's punt return duties 2 weeks ago. Now we're seeing some problems with the punting, with the holds on the kicks. I will agree that I don't think he's fully healthy either. I think, Andy Reid said as much last night. Mm-hmm. But how do you compact or compound problems? You mix a problem with a problem, and guess what? That's what they're doing. He's not healthy, and he's getting inconsistent holds.
Oh, it just makes it that much harder to do anything correctly. And so, I mean, yes, he's Harrison Bucker. He can kick a 54-yarder out from one toe. I get it.
Yeah.
But it does make it more difficult. And quite frankly, I think a lot of folks undervalue doing that job in the cold. Mm-hmm. The plant foot takes a lot more to really be secure. And I think that's where it's going to come down to. Gary, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Tyler, Chiefs already have 4 Pro Bowlers in Kelsey, Humphrey, Bolton, and Pacheco. Can you assume that Pat makes 5? Yeah, a Pro Bowl without Patrick Mahomes being voted into is just, it's a farce.
It's a farce.
I don't know that he plays in it, I got to tell you. And yes, congratulations to Tua for getting all those votes. We'll see how it actually turns out once the league votes as well. But yeah, I think Nick Bolton's going to be in there. I think Patrick's going to be in there. Chris Jones, obviously. If he's not, again, something has gone drastically wrong. Mm-hmm. And I think there could be another 1 or 2 that make a surprise appearance. I will not be surprised if L'Jarius Sneed sneaks.
I was about to say L'Jarius Sneed's going to make the Pro Bowl, I think, but we'll see.
I haven't seen the voting as it stands now, so I really don't know, but that would be my guess. General, 7 consecutive AFC West titles, yes, sir, and 1 Super Bowl. We need another ring, and that's what it is, General. And that's where the frustrations come out the last couple of weeks. On this show and everything. And thank you guys for being here and doing the Q&A and hanging out with us on a Monday night. If you are new to the channel, get subbed right now, because we do this every week, year round, unless it's an actual holiday. We'll talk about the Christmas schedule coming up here in a little bit. But yeah, that's the thing is, like, the concern is because the expectation is they should be, not only do they need one, but they should be in striking distance. They should be in this Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And go head to head with the Eagles. As far as I'm concerned, that is the only goal right now.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that the Eagles are going to do much right now, considering what happens to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, what I didn't see what the thing was, just he might miss a week or two.
There's mixed reports. I think someone put out there that he may have a broken collarbone. I'm not sure that that's accurate. It seems like the team thinks that he has like a shoulder separation or a shoulder strain or something, and he might his time to play is in doubt right now. But yeah, I still think the Eagles are the class of the NFC, especially with Jalen Hurts. Gardner Minshew changes things if he can't play, but we'll see about that.
Hey, as a backup quarterback, I like Gardner Minshew. I got to give you,
he's fine. He's
got a little fire.
Of course he does. You're
going to be a backup. Have some damn fire.
Yeah, I mean he's got weapons too. Like I think he can throw the ball down the field. Right. I don't think he can run the ball for anything, and that's really what makes the Eagles that dynamic on offense.
Yeah. Brian, thank you. Good day, fellow RGRers. Nice to see you, buddy. I love how Patrick jokes as a defender when jukes a defender when he runs. It's fun to see. Do you feel that continuing to get more and others building up to the playoffs? I think they have to. I don't know. Movement wise, I was fine with Tony yesterday. He looked agile. He looked like he was able to cut so much so to the point I was like, bro, just run in a straight line for a little bit,
right.
And let's not test that hamstring right now in a meaningless punt. But like, what was your thought?
I just think that Patrick is a lot of fun to watch anytime he's in the open field because, they talk about him not being the most athletic guy in the world, but he does things that you can't do, that other than no one else can do. And also the way that they work on his body in the offseason with Bobby and everything, he's become more athletic in terms of what he can do with his own body, understanding the physical limitations that he may have, weaving and kind of spinning and accelerating and decelerating he does within little things like that. He's very savvy. And I think that the biggest thing that goes under misunderstood with Patrick is that he understands the angles in running forward, running to the sideline. He knows exactly where he needs to run and at what angle to accomplish what he has to do. If he's outrunning somebody, if he's trying to get to the first down, that plays such a big part in him appearing faster than guys that he probably isn't and getting to places that he typically, you don't think he'd be able to. So I do think that that's a lot of fun. But yeah, with the activation of McCole Hardman probably this week, I would imagine, I don't think you're going to see Sky Moore get as much involved. I think you're going to continue to see what we've seen, maybe a target or two at most, but this is going to continue to be a heavy rotation. MVS will start to be more involved, in my opinion, Juju, and then I think Hardman will continue to be revved up into the postseason.
Yeah, I hope it comes on. That's
Yeah.
what I hope. Yeah. Nightbot, I'm sorry, this was FLDB. Thank you, sir, for putting this out. This is the store, and this is where you can get the Rogue Nation Chiefs Kingdom hats right here. And let me show you. I can put it up there. Those are the standings. We'll talk about those in a minute. This is the gear. So these are available, as are the others. We got beanies. We got this red one that I kind of dig a little bit. We got a couple of other things. You can even get an In Harm's Way shirt if you're feeling squirrely for Dan. So yeah, everything's available over there at the store that FLDB put here in this comment. So thanks for that. Appreciate you. Any thoughts on former kicker quotes coming? Okay, so we covered that too. Sorry, I meant to stack those a little bit tighter so we weren't repeating that. I love how a team plays with attitude for playing down, and attitude when they get this, and it's like Curry slams a 3-pointer to win. Yeah, I'd rather just see domination. I don't no breaks. That's my philosophy.
I'd love it, but the teams that have no breaks haven't won a Super Bowl in a while, or they have a new head coach that's younger and is really fiery to make himself something in the NFL. And he's been there, he's done that, he's chill, he's relaxed. He's got that Super Bowl now, and I don't think he was ever apt to be the put the pedal down all the way to begin with. And now it's kind of shown itself even more at times. So hopefully they can muster up enough here down the stretch to catch some fire and hit it into the postseason. Because again, I do think that that's all that matters. They got to find something to just get some momentum going, to get some nice execution games on everyone's part, and then they'll start to really take it to people.
Agreed. I hope so too. And it doesn't have to be gas all the time either. I'm
No.
fine with gas and then just coast down the hill.
I'm okay with that.
I just don't need the brakes.
Got to get that gas, guys.
Yeah, right. And that's where I'm at. Okay, so thank you, Oscar. As the standings are right now, it looks like we'll be the second. Yep, and we'll face Miami. How do you think that we'll do against them? They just need the Bills to lose one. Come on, Bengals. Yeah. Last night in the snow, I thought was probably the best chance for the Bills to lose. Doesn't mean they can't. They have not been beating teams very well either. So they have a little bit of Chiefs-itis right now. And that's okay. You can see where the Bengals are right here, right behind the Chiefs and Bills. So they have risen their level. And if you guys saw my power ranks, and I will be doing them again tomorrow over on NFL 33, where you can get all the league-wide information that we do. I still have both those teams above the Chiefs. And it's real simple in my mind. Until you beat them, you can't be higher than them. And that's why I do mine my way. And I rank every playoff team as in their own conference. I don't care if I think the Cowboys would beat the Chargers because they don't have to.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter to me. I want to see the playoff matchups. And you're right. Right now it is Miami in 7. I do think Miami has hit a wall where people I think are starting to figure them out. I haven't looked at their remaining schedule, but I think in the East in particular, there's certainly a possibility they could lose another one. That would probably, I believe, due to tiebreakers, allow the Patriots to go back up. The Jets would be one of those teams I think they still have to play. So the Jets would then have a tie with them as well. So there's a lot still to be determined. But I just don't want to see the Chargers fall to 7. That's my main concern.
Yeah. It's so hard to beat a team 3 times in the season, let alone 2. But the remaining schedule for the Miami Dolphins are the Packers, the Patriots, and the Jets. They have 2 divisional games left. So that's going to hinge pretty difficult for them. Again, they have been trending downward offensively because teams are like, if we play man coverage and don't let the ball come out super quick, that offensive line's tissue paper, and Tua's not the best at getting through his reads right now.
Yeah,
like
it has definitely changed.
It's different, and obviously with the cold comes a little bit slower play. I do think that they leaned into the run game against the Bills a little bit more, and that was nice for them, for their offense, and it did allow them to do some things more throughout that game. That's why they were in it against the Bills. They were able to take the lead at one point early in that fourth quarter, I think it was. But their offense predominantly plays on the RPO and the quick passing game. Yeah, there are some deep shots, but that's because the ball usually comes out quick. The defenses are waiting for that ball to come out, and they were able to preface that and then hit them down the field. So the Dolphins are, again, very close to not making the postseason. I think that the Jets, should have probably beaten the Lions on Sunday, even though Zach Wilson was starting, but that's a game that you probably needed to win as a Jets team. But either way, they have to play 2 teams that they're trying to keep out of the postseason, in the Patriots and the Jets down the stretch. So that's going to be tough for them.
All right, we're going to speed it up here as we have a bunch of questions and a bunch of super chats to get to, but we're a little bit behind because we yak a lot. Thank you guys for all of your questions, including Kevin's. Why is Mahomes getting his neck wrung and not one flag? And that's the big thing. And kudos to the Chiefs House reporters because they caught one of those moments really well. And I'm going to do a piece on that this week. I am concerned about that because I think it's his toughness and his ability to take hits that I think is dumbing down some of the officiating in their reaction to hits he shouldn't have to take. That's aside from the Cheffers thing. That's a different beast. But I'm saying overall, I think a lot of the officials don't, just like Josh Allen, he's tough enough that they don't throw the flag when they should.
Yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense that he shouldn't be getting some of these calls. And again, arms around the throat, throwing down, just some of these things that I've seen other quarterbacks get. Lesser quarterbacks get called on, and he's not getting them.
And that's what Tyler's at too. Yeah. And MVS pointed it out really well. Good for him. Pono, the constant lack of aggression is all due to the coaching, and that's why it's time for Andy to retire, and Spags needs to go too. I can see Spags retiring. I don't think Andy's ready to. And I'll tell you this: a year or two ago, Pono, we were totally bitching about how Patrick continues to be aggressive and go downtown, and he doesn't have anybody to throw to. Like there's a balance that's got to be met. It can't be all or nothing. So I understand where you're coming from, and I do think it is time for a change at the coordinator spot on the defensive side. I just can't see them walking away from Andy. I don't think Hunt will ever do it.
And I don't think Andy wants to. I think Andy's having a lot of fun.
and that's the key. I think it will be Andy to tell Clark when Andy's done, not the opposite. Last cheese ball, Carl Jefferson was born and raised in LA. Do you think he was a Raiders fan? Just saying. Okay. I have no idea. I don't get into the personal lives of the refs. I think that should be the league, and I think they should be doing that. And I think this has to be accountability is what my problem is. Andy is a problem. Vanilla play call. Lovey is his friend, so he was campaigning for Lovey to keep his job during the post-game interview. Spags, why? Okay, Frey, I'm trying to track with you. Andy was supporting Lovey because he respects him as a coach and he is a friend of his. And quite frankly, I don't think the Texans organization has done enough to help Lovey. I think the whole cluster that has gone on with Sean Watson, they need to get clear of that explosion for a year or two. I think it'd be premature to get rid of Lovey. I think he has the makings of a coach that can win. They just got to believe in him and give him what he needs. In terms of Spags, if Lovey were available, Andy would look that direction. But I think we both, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, we're both pretty confident that they brought Colin in here to be the heir apparent.
I don't disagree with that. I think there are some probably internal signs that things could be changing, and maybe Spags talk to Andy about maybe the next year or two, because otherwise, why bring in a guy who literally can take over as the DC like tomorrow? It doesn't make a ton of sense for a guy to take a step down, in my opinion, as Colin did, to not have a way to come up. So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Okay. Yeah. I won't argue. So Jeremy was asking, so a live show Saturday after the game, will there be one Monday on the 26th? Tentatively, yes. I am planning to do a live on the 26th. I will have family and stuff here. It may be abbreviated. I may have to slide it back, but that is my plan. Won't do anything Sunday night. I know we normally have the Sunday night breakdown. We will not have anything on Sunday night this week. Enjoy your Christmas. I'm going to enjoy mine. So that is the plan. If something changes, I'll let you guys know through a community post. So make sure you're subbed and make sure that you have the bell clicked on so it'll give you a notification if I do have to change that. But right now, Mondays as usual. Does Bucker need ankle surgery? I think that could be a possibility. I don't have that on any authority, but it will not surprise me if we find that out in the offseason.
For sure.
Mahomes took a headshot yesterday and no flag. I know, Gary, it's crazy. And good for MVS for sticking up for his guy. How does Mahomes not get flung around like a rag doll and no call? Technically, the flinging around was not the problem. That wasn't technically a foul. It was the grass that he was in before he flung him that was the problem. But I don't know. People like to draw some instances there. I'm not so much about, like, they got to protect everybody equally.
Yeah.
That's my big thing. It doesn't have to be necessarily that letter of that law, but you got to be equal. So how much trouble do the Seahawks give us? Well, given that the Chiefs have played down to everybody else that they've played, Dan, how do you think that they play?
Well, this is another defense that struggles to stop the run. So if we have learned anything from the last couple of, last week and some of the other games, is that they'll throw into the strength of the Seattle Seahawks defense. Early on, maybe have a few irresponsible drives. Defensively, I don't know. They're going to just, I don't know. I can't really speak right now about the game plan stuff. But Seattle possesses some problems if Tyler Lockett plays. He has a broken finger, and I don't know if he's going to play this week. He might not play this week at all. He just had surgery on his finger. So he might not play at all. Then it's just DK Metcalf. But, DK is DK, so he can hit you deep a few times. Offensive line's been pretty decent for them. So they always can find a way to do it. It's going to come down to whether or not they want to finally execute. So we'll see.
I will say this, too. I like the matchup against two rookie tackles for the Chiefs. I think Frank might be able to get some things done. I like
I
George
don't.
against both of them as well. You don't?
I don't. I
Okay.
actually think that Cross has been excellent. Actually,
He has been.
he's been excellent this season, and I think that Abraham Lucas has been just as good, which is ridiculous, honestly. I didn't think he was that great coming out, but maybe that's because I was thinking more of the player 2 years ago, not the one that came out this past year. I didn't see a ton of him from Washington State this past year, so
Yeah.
that might be on me. So I don't think that they can do what we've seen done, that especially last week with the 49ers taking them to the shed. I don't think that will happen this week. So we'll see.
I don't think so either. I will tell you this, though. My number one thing for Abraham Lucas was making sure that he could lower his center of gravity, get his anchor back, because he was susceptible to the bull last year. That's the number one thing in my eval. That's what George Karlaftis does best. Cross has been excellent, but this is the team Frank played for when he was top of the league. I think he might be out to make a point. I can't disagree with you at all. I'm just saying if it happens, that's how it will happen, in my opinion.
Okay.
Look at the positive. We are getting healthier. And if the playoffs started today, Hill is coming back. Well, you get him on your field, that's for sure. He's just going to be catching passes from the wrong guy.
Yeah, right.
And quite frankly, there's nobody that can run Tyreek on this defense, period. Not even L'Jarius.
No. But that's why you just don't let him have to run down the field.
Nope. You have to adopt.
You
have to adopt what teams have done to this team in the last 2 years. Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I'm concerned. Again, about game planning, about breaking down and doing something outside of your tendencies.
Yeah.
Kyle, I really like the play of Talanoa Hufanga. Yeah. USC product with the Niners. I was hoping KC would take him. Would his style have fit in KC? His style would be fine. He does miss tackles still. And the problem is he's not athletic enough for this staff. They want top-end athletes, and he's good, but he's not great. I think he was like 8th in his class in the Matrix that year, and I liked him too. He was on my board certainly on day 3.
He's super aggressive too. Yeah. He sees something,
and he goes,
and that's not what the Chiefs want. They want you to play sound, smart defense, and honestly, with the way that San Francisco plays, they don't necessarily care if he makes some mistakes, because he makes a lot of mistakes, but he can make up for it because he does go. He flies by the whatever you want to say. He just flies all over the field trying to make something happen, and more often than not, he does. And it's lucking him out right now, in my opinion. But he's still a lot of the same player that he was coming out. He's just in the system that really, in my opinion, accentuates his skill set and allows him to be the player he is.
Yeah, I like that. Des, how realistic for a player like Budda Baker or on offense Tunsil or Jake Matthews? I don't think Jake Matthews is allowed to leave. That'd be silly by that organization. Tunsil, it's similar, but who knows? They're such a mess. They could consider that. Mm-hmm. And I think Budda's contract is up. And I talked about this earlier in the season when Hard Knocks started for them. And you see just how much passion Budda has for this game. He's another Washington corner that is along that line of DBs that are not only elite on the field, but elite in terms of being leaders. The Washington defense has been led by DBs for the last decade. And that is a different thing than what you see most of the time in the league. I would, if you have to trade for him, I don't care. Like, I think putting Budda Baker on this defense makes this secondary the ability to be elite, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. We gotta speed up again. We are still falling even further behind.
Sorry. All right, shut up, Ryan. Predictions on the Bengals versus Bills in 2 weeks. What do you got?
Bengals versus Bills. I think the Bills win. I think it'll be another close game, but I think they win.
Unless something changes. If the two teams played yesterday, I would think the Bills win as well.
Yeah.
Do we have 3-4 free agents on D you would like to get? Is there enough to lift this defense to middle range status? Man, I have not looked at 3-4 specific players lately. I tell you what, though, Brandon Williams can be a nose for you in a heartbeat. So
absolutely,
you may have started down that road already.
It's possible. I think Budda Baker, again, like you said, perfect. Boom, boom.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. I will say that they've done a good job of, especially at the second level, getting athletic linebackers.
Yes,
that will make the transition easier if you have to go that route. And quite frankly, it's coming around. They made my guy Cam Thomas an outside linebacker. In Arizona, it's starting to work. I swear to God, if he'd been here, that would have been something they could have made an easy transition. But hey, Why is it seem that KC is playing down on their opponent lately? Andy. That's my only answer for you,
I
Rifleman.
don't care too much.
Thank you again, Kevin. Appreciate
it, Kevin.
and thank you, Kevin, for the shout out for the Iowa State players on Locked On Draft. But my question is, what else can we do to fix the D line and the offensive line this year or next year? There's not much you can do to the offensive line right now at all.
Mm-hmm.
I have not looked at free agency. I don't know if there's somebody else you could add to the D line right now.
Yeah, again, like I haven't done enough on the free agency because it's not there yet, and draft season's like right here. So I'm trying to use my spare time to jump on some prospects, and it's all a cluster.
And for all of you that are draftniks, our new site, NFL 33, we started it in the fall, but I know it's not really draft season. It's coming up. I'm going to release my top 10 edge rushers here in the next week or two. Post-Christmas, hopefully before New Year's, you can check that out. That's where our draft content's going to be this year. We'll talk Chiefs draft on this channel, of course, but all the league-wide stuff is going to be on NFL33.com. It is Substack. You can join for free and get some of the posts. You can join as a member and get all of it. We'd appreciate your support over there as well. Everyone bumming me out the last 24 hours. I get it, Caddy. We got 7 AFC West titles and a second AFC in the year we were supposed to be going a step back. That's a fair point. Tell me something good, lads. Why or who is your favorite Chief ever? Okay, just give me the top guy at your list.
I'm going to just rule out Patrick Mahomes because he's going to be the top at everyone's list, I think, especially considering what he's done. Trent Green is probably my favorite Chief ever outside of Patrick Mahomes. One, he's the quarterback that was quarterbacking the team when I started watching football. And everything that I've ever heard about Trent Green, everything that he did for Kurt Warner, I respect him so very much, and I also love him as an announcer. So it's Trent Green for me.
Let's see, Jaden. I do believe it's in the stats.
Yeah, it's in there. We're
just way behind, buddy.
We're just slow.
We're getting there, man. Masterpiece. There's been a lot of talk about the Chiefs. Should they go back to running a 3-4 base? Do you guys feel that they should, and do they have the personnel to make a smooth transition? I don't think it would be smooth.
No,
not right now. But you have the ability, because you're losing Frank, you can shift that side and go draft an outside linebacker type. There's several that we like. We're both big on BJ Ojulari, who might be the top outside linebacker type behind Will Anderson, who I think can play in either front myself.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the tackles. Chris Jones can play in any defense. Yes. I like him better. And on third down, they're going to go to a 4-man front anyway, because that's the way teams play dime, et cetera, et cetera. But in the base, I just don't want to see Chris. You can play an aggressive, penetrating style of 3-4. Joe Cullen does. So I don't think it's a step back for Chris. The question is going to be the other D tackle, because right now you have Williams. I think Nadi could get by in a pinch. I think Saunders could get by in a pinch as a nose.
Yeah.
But it's the other D tackle. I don't think I want to see Karlaftis go down there permanently because of the volume of double teams he's going to get. So I'm a little against that being a smooth transition, and good Lord, I'm yakking a lot. But there's a couple of things they have to fix. But they do have the athleticism in the secondary and the linebacker level. So I think it makes it not insurmountable, Casey. Appreciate it. Our defense is consistent, makes bad teams look good and great teams look good. Bad teams look good, yeah. Kind of a double-edged sword. You're absolutely right, Marshall.
I'm with you there. They show up against good teams. They do, for the most part.
Yeah. I never saw a pool report from Shepherds yesterday. Did they not do one every game? They do one every game. I did not see it released.
Shocker.
So it may be that the beat reporters have a quote or two from the pool, but they were asked not to release the entire pool report. That does happen. Do we get rid of Justin Reed next year? I don't think so, Deldrick. First year in the defense, still making adjustments. I thought he had a very up game after a down game.
Yeah.
I thought he played well yesterday.
Yeah.
Let's see what he can do consistently. TPT. Okay, Jaden, we got you. Sorry, buddy. Just running really behind. RGR Craft is lit. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. And you're thinking of making a pizza channel. That's awesome. Put that together.
Awesome.
We can cross promote there. And Dolphins Chiefs matchup in the playoffs is, what's your thoughts? And the defense has to step up. It definitely does. Again, I don't think it's a revenge game for Tyreek, but Tyreek knows all the weaknesses, and the only things he doesn't know is the rookie class and their rookies.
Yeah, that's true.
So the advantage goes to Tyreek in the field. It becomes about the quarterback.
Yeah, if they can, if Steve Spagnuolo will change his defensive belief and say, fine, we're letting you do it, then they'll be okay. I do think that they'll be okay. It's all about, will they adjust to that? I don't know.
See, now you guys start hitting me with super chats, and now I'm going to have to go through this. Okay, we're going to see what we've already covered. Let's see. What's the Chiefs' biggest need in the first round?
Defensive end.
Okay. Any chance at Tunsil? I would say no.
I think there's a chance, just not a very high one.
Okay. Papa Bear wants us to look at the Lions. Yes. Hey, good for them. Bite kneecaps is coming around. They're going to get there.
Of course, Dad. Of course.
Would you love to see Veach pick up another Chris Jones type D tackle in the draft and make the middle of this DL impossible to double team? I would too. Chris Joneses don't grow on trees, and I'm not huge on the D line, the DT class so far in terms of pass rush.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I really like the two guys from Texas in terms of being able to eat doubles and protect the run, et cetera. But I think what's his name, Amari. He's clearly the more pass rush guy, and good thing he'll probably be a third rounder, maybe even into day 3. So I like that. As it stands now, hey, birthday girl. With the draft being so heavy on DB talent, what would you guys do to try to meet the team needs? Do you feel that they should package picks to go get an edge with Bend? I do. I would like to do that. I think this team's going to take somebody like Isaiah Foskey or God forbid, Tyree Wilson. A lot of people love Tyree Wilson. He gets a lot of pressures. I've reviewed 3 games so far. I haven't seen quality pressures there that make me think he can make the transition and be any more of an impact as a rookie than George Karlaftis has been to this point. And he is, like Karlaftis, more of a power player than an edge bender. He does have it, though. Like, physically, he can do it. I just don't see it on film. Or maybe I haven't seen the right film yet. We're very early in the process, so we will get there. Let's see. Please convince me we're not repeating last year's some success in the playoffs. 7-8 guys blanketing the receiver. Bradley, I'd love to tell you we're not. I don't know that I believe it yet. I got to see more. They got to keep going. These last 2 weeks are not take off. They have to get better.
Stop.
Tyler, thank you. The elf is going crazy. If we could take any player in the league and add him to this team, who are you gifting Veach for his birthday today? God, any player? Any player. Well, it'll do 2 things. For me, if I could pick any player and just drop him on this roster, it would hurt the Raiders at the same time, and I'll take Devontae
Adams. Let's see. I'm going to be gifting him Laramie Tunsil because the left tackle would be probably a huge improvement, and they don't necessarily need a wide receiver. Funny enough.
No, I know, but he'd love it. It's a gift, right?
Yeah, right.
3-4 defense, shut down corners. Yes, I'd love both those things. Thank you. What's known as Gray's ceiling? Nobody can replace Kelsey, but can Gray be the future tight end after he retires? Good question, Evan. He can be a future tight end. I don't think you can expect him to be, like, if you're talking fantasy, I don't think he can be a top 10 like receiving threat every year.
No. I think he's a good rotational player. And that's fine. That's what he is. I think that considering where he was drafted, where he came from, what he's done, I think that's exactly what you're hoping for, him to be a productive player. He's been a productive player.
And if they have to do that, I think can get you through a year or 2 with decent production.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to get more pass catcher type. I'm concerned about Jody Fortson right now. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
but do they never call the roughing the passer on Mahomes? Again, because he's just tough. What do you think Patrick should look for Watson earlier? He seems to get open a lot on replay views. Yeah, but he's usually the 3rd or 4th read, and that's just hierarchy within the offense. I think there are going to be times where they need to buck the system and go away from that hierarchy myself. Buck Kicker Burner, welcome back. Good to see Tommy going to step his game up. He's making me look like horseshit. I like it. Usually you don't put your face on your burner, bro.
That's good. That's good stuff right there.
Am I wrong in thinking that all 3 of these losses had to do with special teams, i.e. missed field goals, extra points, and drop punts? Sure, that was a factor in all of them, Mr. Streeter. I can't say I would put any of them specifically on the special teams.
One game. Obviously, a lot went wrong, but I think the Colts game was a huge special teams debacle, just start to finish.
Okay. Alex, he just asked straight out, claim Sammy or not for more depth?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I'll say not. but I won't be surprised if Andy does. I'm starting to get concerned about how much recognition Bolton is getting. He's having a solid season, but he's not a top 10 LB in my opinion. I can understand where you're coming from. In the end, he's going to get the recognition because he's top 10 in stats. His tackles is working. I agree with you. He's still lacking in the pass protection atmosphere, but most linebackers are. So I think he's fringe in that top 10 in my opinion.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about only RB and TE leading the team in passing touchdowns on this team? It's a very good point, Kenneth. Yeah, that's
It's a little concerning. I won't lie.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, if it wasn't for the injuries, I feel like Juju would probably be closer to 1,000 yards already. He'd have 1,000 yards already. and I think we wouldn't have to have that kind of question because I think we'd be satisfied myself.
I also think Hardman would have a few more touchdowns
True.
if you were healthy. We look at it differently if some of these injuries didn't happen.
Matt, the Tyree question is going to have to wait for another day because we're almost out of time. I did start, but it's not that anything's bad about him. I just don't project him being able to be a game changer right away. He's going to be, in my opinion, a guy that needs time to come along, much like George does. I see them being similar so far. Would you rather bring back Orlando or sign Elton Jenkins? Jenkins is an interesting play. I think he's solid, and for the money, he's certainly the more value. What do you think, Dan?
I don't disagree. It's just familiarity. I think Brown makes sense, and I thought you just skipped Oscar's question.
Oh, did I?
Because you had it highlighted, and then we didn't talk about it.
Uh-oh. Shoot. And it's gone now.
Okay.
Dang it. That's on me, Oscar.
I'm trying to find it. I don't see it.
Okay, I'll do the next one then. Chiefs have to do it the hard way. End of round picks and less free agents while the crappy teams have top 10 picks for at least 10. Yeah, absolutely. That's the bane of being a good team in this league. It does hurt you in building your team the next season. And it's a continual cycle, unfortunately. Gina, why the heck doesn't any of the press ask why Sheffers has it out for the Chiefs? It's blatant now. Can't Clark get an answer or ask for the crew not to officiate the game? The second part is you're dead on, and I think that is something that's probably being talked about behind the scenes, is that Clark's got to be fed up. And when the owner, who is on the competition committee, is in the room saying this is a little bit out of hand, or is on the phone to the commissioner, which is my guess is what's happening. I don't have that confirmed, but that's my guess. I think that's what could happen. The press aren't going to call it out like that because that's just not professional journalism. They're going to try to get somebody to give an opinion. And if they can follow up, maybe they can get there, but they're not going to out and out do that. That's what bloggers do. That's not real press.
All right. I did find the question. So
you did? Awesome.
We'll do this. Yeah.
Do it.
All right, Oscar. Sorry about that whole miscommunication period. Do you guys think the Chiefs missed out by passing on Pickens from the Steelers than drafting Sky? I will address this as plainly as I can without being rude. No. And I think you're seeing exactly – we've already kind of seen why they didn't draft George Pickens. George Pickens was not getting the football enough from a team that was throwing him the ball over 20% of the time. He was getting targets from Kenny Pickett, a lot of targets. But they still have Deontay Johnson, who's garnering 7-8 targets a game. How do you think that kind of mentality would work in an area where he's not getting targeted at all?
Yeah. Honestly, the same thing happened at Georgia. He's
an extremely talented outside football player who has obviously already some of the best highlight catches in the NFL this season. He is a headache. And I don't think the Chiefs thought that it was a positive to the team. We'll see how it ends up stacking out as their careers come forward. So appreciate the question, Oscar.
I mean, right now in terms of impact on the field, Pickens has made more plays.
Yeah.
But in terms of fitting into a team dynamic, which is everything that Andy Reid and the Chiefs are about, I don't know that you could project that. But we'll see what Sky can become and see if that conversation gets more close. Angel, thank you. Appreciate you. Sorry we're so far behind tonight, you guys. Is there a hit out on Juju that I'm not aware of? I want to see him sign with us next season. And he has to survive this season first, or all those shots to the head have me worried. I agree with you, Gavin. And I honestly think that he is still not 100%.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Aggression. I'm not saying that he's out on the field inappropriately. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
he doesn't look like his old self yet.
No. I'm with you.
But yeah, I am concerned about that. Let's protect the guy a little bit. He's a tough dude and he's good size. So he doesn't shy away from contact either. Much like you'll see Tyreek certainly, but McCole will do it. Some of the other smaller guys will too, where you get close to sideline, just step out. Okay, get the yards you can get and step out. Because this offense without Juju Smith-Schuster is Travis and oh my.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough. Avery, nice to see you. I don't know if that's not the Avery we know, but hey, I like a new Avery. I love your channel. I've been watching for 3 years. That's awesome.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, dude. Anyways, it's fair to say that Tony is injury prone and we'll never be able to rely on him. I mean, I can understand your concern, but I don't know that we're ready to say that yet. I still feel like, no offense to the Giants organization, they have had a history of soft tissue things that linger with their players. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yep. Look at their wide receivers are trotting out there right now.
Yeah. And so when you transition, it isn't just being in a new room with maybe better trainers or more thorough conditioning or anything like that. It does take some time. So I'm not ready to say that yet. If this goes on throughout next season, then I'll be a lot closer to saying that, and I'll be as concerned as you are.
Yeah, me too.
Williams or Watson is the third CB now.
Right now, Williams, and I don't like it. I'll say Williams.
I think it's a toss-up, and I'm not concerned about that fact. I'm actually happy. Again, Jalen in the 7th. I thought he had a chance to play. I didn't expect him to contribute at all this season. So
yeah,
he's still. Both of them are still ahead of my expectation for them in year one. Are people sleeping on the Bengals again this season, or are they overrated?
I think they're better than they were last year, honestly.
Yeah, and I honestly wouldn't say either. I think people are a little bit slow to come around because they struggled early in the year.
Yeah.
But they're certainly gaining steam. And I think after what we saw last season, and it's still the same core of players there, that you can see them projecting to pick up steam again and be a force.
Yeah.
So I would say it's right in the middle. Austin, thanks for the support, buddy. Not sure if you saw my question statement on Colquitt blames Tommy for the bad kicks. Sorry I did. I'm just super slow tonight. Saw him say something about laces toward the sideline on Twitter. I saw the same thing. And if you go back and you take a look at some of the misses, he does have a point. There's usually an angle to the ball that is, I believe it's tilting generally away from the holder. And the laces are an issue. And for any of you who have ever played golf, you know that spin coming off of the club head makes a huge difference. Same thing with a football coming off of a guy's foot. It's those little things. Laces in the wrong direction, that tilt of the ball, that's what produces hook or produces fade. And I don't know enough about it to tell you which is which, or if it's a direct correlation, but I know it happens. So, again, I take that as Dustin protecting Harrison from the criticism because he knows that some of those things aren't right. Yeah. I don't think he's trying to throw Tommy under the bus. If I'm wrong, then Dustin, come tell me and we'll make sure everybody understands it.
Yes, we will.
Jacob, thank you for your support, buddy. What's your thoughts on moving Tooney to left tackle, Niang to left guard, and Orlando to right tackle? Okay.
That's a loaded question there, Jacob.
It is.
And I will.
Part of it I like.
I like moving Orlando to right tackle.
Ding, ding, ding.
But we all know that the reason he's not in Baltimore is because he was like, I only want to play left tackle. I don't mind the moving Niang to the left side, but I'd move him to left tackle. If I'm moving him somewhere, it's going to be to a tackle position because he's the athlete. This makes two positions weaker in left guard and left tackle.
Yeah.
So I think moving Tooney to tackle doesn't make much sense. He's an all-pro left guard. And Niang, I think, could figure it out on left tackle, but I'm not doing it myself.
I agree with you. The one move of these I would make is Orlando to right, and I will tell you this. I'm fine with it because at the end of the day, you can want anything that you want. If I think you're better at right tackle and I'm the coach, then I put you where you need to play because I said so. I am a little bit over this whole thing of guys demanding to play the position they want or demanding the contract they want when they haven't lived up to the prerequisite of playing at that level. So I'm fired up. That really bugs me. And I'm all for Orlando saying, hey, I want to play left. If it's a request and you're letting your intentions be known and you then go prove that you can take that job, this is why the Ravens let him go.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I'm right back in the same situation where he's better at right now, where he generally would face, outside of Von Miller, a lesser speed rush on that side.
I'm with you.
Okay. Glad I'm not crazy because sometimes I'm a jerk. Avery, thank you. You guys check out what Avery's doing as well.
Yes,
on ADI. Pacheco, 81 yards per game to get 1,000 from scrimmage. Patrick needs 327 per game to break single season record. Which do you feel is more likely and which will be more shocking?
Well, if you would have told me before the season that Pacheco would get 1,000 yards from scrimmage, I would have been like, go.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure I said that almost word for word. So the fact that he's close to getting it is shocking for me. It's still, I think Patrick will get that. I think he can get that. I think it's more likely that he gets it than Pacheco does. But I mean, if they lean into the run, anything can happen for that.
And let's be honest, he hit 80 last week. He hit 76 the week before that, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to bite the bullet, Avery, and I'm going to say they're both going to happen.
Ooh, there we go.
Ding, ding, ding. Because no offense, I don't think this defense is going to slow down giving up points. They were great against yardage this last week, but they gave up points. And so I think it is still going to be something that Patrick's still going to have to push, and you're going to have the balance. So I could see them playing this out. Great question, as always, Mr.
Love
Avery.
it.
What's Patrick's chance to win the MVP now that Allen has beaten the Bengals? Ask KC, and that is a very good point. I don't think it diminishes Patrick's chances because Josh has not put up the stats as the quarterback that Jalen Hurts has. And I think, honestly, both the league and the public get tired and they want it to be a man-to-man race. They're not in the third and fourth options, in my experience. That said, I'm not convinced that Josh can't get back in it. If he has a big passing week this week, I think he could be right there, and it could be a three-headed monster. I'm still leaning towards Patrick, though. What do you think, Dan?
I think the game that Patrick just had almost sealed it for him. Almost did. When you do that, and again, if he gets the passing yards that we're all assuming he's going to get, it's going to be too hard to look over. It's going to be too hard to look over. When you go over 5,000 yards, nearly breaking the single season record, if he does it, it's going to be Patrick. I have almost no doubt about it.
Oh, let's hope so. I would like to be able to say that. Do you think there will ever be a DT 58 type player come along? So he will definitely be a one-off. That is a great question. I didn't think there would be a DT until DT showed up because I didn't think LT would ever have anyone push his numbers, push his ability. Lawrence Taylor was the first. Derek Thomas was the second. Von Miller was the third. It has been a straight line for me. As good as, the Charles Haley's of the world and obviously Reggie back in the day, there's not been those elite outside players. Those three are a straight line. Is there a next one coming? I don't know. I don't see it in the way college football is going these days. And if you can't be prepared to be that in college, you won't get there in the pros. You can't have that much of an evolution. They're going with longer, skinnier, less powerful guys that are quicker off the ball. That wasn't Derek's game. He had a great first step, but he was as much power as he was speed. And that doesn't seem to be growing on trees these days. Who knows?
Doesn't happen,
pendulum
man.
swings, man. The pendulum swings.
At some point.
Are you guys concerned about the DB coaching? I feel like the defensive play calls aren't bad in theory because we have had DBs in pretty close coverage, but nobody is tackling or jumping up for it. I see what you mean in terms of like high pointing the ball. I do see a bit of a problem in both Jalen and Josh. Jalen was not a big PBU guy.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him make some nice plays though. Like he has it in him. I think that's a function of being in their rookie season as well. What do you think?
I mean, again, there are rookies. It's hard to come into the NFL from any point and just kind of know how to do that. Balls are more accurate. They're faster. They're being, especially, I mean, 7th round picks. I know he was played at Virginia, right? Jalen Watson did. For Josh Williams, it's a completely different skill set for these quarterbacks. They're so much better than the guys they played against in college. It is an acclimation process, and I think that Williams has gotten a little bit better. McDuffie had a ball ricochet off his face.
Mm-hmm.
So again, everything's a little bit faster. And when you don't get targeted a ton, I don't think, and all of them have been like just straight up targeted a ton. They haven't. So it's still an acclimation process. So we'll see if it's a problem again next year and the year after. Then yeah, we can say it might have something to do with the defensive back coaching.
Could possibly be. We'll find out. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. You, Miss Holly, thank you. Big super chat. We appreciate your support as always. And I know you support people all over this platform. So thank you. It is appreciated. I think most people have seen the more diplomatic critique of Tommy's holding instead of the downright rude, unprofessional tweet Dustin made, which was clearly throwing Tomlin under the bus. I'm all for constructive criticism, but be classy. Yeah, obviously, I have not seen anything rude or unprofessional myself. And I read the original thread. Maybe there's been something more that I haven't seen yet. But I didn't even see him use Tommy's name. I think he was trying. What I saw was specifically about the ball, its placement, its direction, etc., and how that affected Harrison. But maybe I missed something, Holly. And I agree with you. Be constructive, but keep it real and keep it above board. I don't even know about classy. I get San Diego.
Yeah, just don't outright be throwing people. Just be more respectful than, especially for, I mean, by all accounts, Dustin Colquitt's a very respectable guy. If he's fired up about something, typically he's got a good reason. But I still don't think it's a great reason just to be straight up rude for no real reason on Twitter. So I haven't seen the tweet itself, but we'll see.
And I would hope not, because I think there's a case to be made. Hey, you want to come back and hold these balls for us? Thank you, Holly. We appreciate the support, and I'm glad you pointed that out. I do want to see that, though. So if somebody would share with me on Twitter, I would appreciate it. Not sure if I missed it, but Mahomes seems to be throwing the majority of his ints later in the season. Why is that? Probably my last question for a bit. I have surgery Thursday. Thanks for all the content. Well, good luck, Sean. I hope it's nothing.
Sean, appreciate it. Hope you're get through your surgery all right, because I know what that's like.
Hope it's not drastic. I will say this. I am really glad. I would rather see a couple of hiccups here now than what we saw, what was it, 2 years ago, where it was just throwing them up early in the year, put them behind, and kind of tainted the whole season. I think this is more easily overcome and corrected myself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's a bad thing necessarily. Again, if he doesn't have that 3-pick game, I think no one's really talking about him. But maybe I'm wrong.
That's probably fair. I'm with you. Let's see. Hey, Night Hunter. Hope you're doing good. Matt Alex was asking about Micah. Everybody's welcome to their own opinion. I don't see Micah as a power player. I don't see him putting tackles on their butts. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm not seeing enough of these snaps, but Derek could one-arm a guy and put a tackle on his ass. That's without a doubt. Yeah. So I just don't see that from Micah. He's more of a speed player, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, okay. I thought maybe I'd missed something athletic. Possibly. And sorry, folks, I've let 2 out tonight. Apologies for any of the small people watching. Do you think that Patrick Mahomes could realistically win both regular season MVP and Super Bowl MVP? It's all about the performance, but yeah, why not? He's done it before.
Yeah. He's got it in his wheelhouse. He can do it.
And I think honestly, one may make it more approachable to the voters. Hey, we've already given him one MVP, and now if he has a maybe not an elite game, but a great game, maybe you can get by with that.
Yeah, maybe.
Again, it really comes down to, and it sucks that it's an MVP, but it's a quarterback award. You really only have to outplay one guy. It's like that story with the bear. You don't have to be faster than the bear. You just got to be faster than the other guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Got here late. Did you talk about Sammy being released? We did, Robert. We tried to run away as fast as possible.
Unfortunately, Sammy can no longer do that. Oh, I feel so bad saying it.
Ouch. Wow. Do you guys think the offensive line struggles could be blamed on coaching in a capacity to some degree?
Okay. I'm going to say no. And that's because Orlando Brown specifically does not fit the bill of an Andy Heck offensive lineman. He doesn't. Offensive tackle. I'll say that. He does not fit the bill for a tackle under Andy Heck. Okay. Mitchell Schwartz was the exception to the being unathletic. Exceptional technique. You can overcome being not a great athlete with top of the line technique. Well, Leonard Brown doesn't have that. Andrew Wiley's a backup player. He's a backup. He's a backup tackle being a starter. Again, that's not Andy Heck's fault. And Trey Smith's been dealing with injuries.
I will put it on the coaches who own this capacity that you didn't put up enough of a fight to make Brett Veach correct the situation, that you didn't identify the fact that Orlando was not going to work as well this season, and that you should have. And maybe this happened, and I just don't know it. Maybe Andy Heck was stomp on the table. We need somebody better than Wiley right now. We don't know. But I'm saying if that is the case, that's the one thing that I could lay at Andy Heck's feet. Yeah. Like just not identifying the urgency of upgrading.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. All right. I think we have finally done it, folks. We have gotten caught up.
That, y'all.
Yeah, it only took an hour and 20. And I know some of you are happy to sit around 3 hours. You'll get tired of us, I guarantee you. So thank you for putting up with us this long. Thank you for being here. Again, we have super cool gear that I'm kind of pumped about. If you guys want to take a look and check it out, it is over here at the store. The link is in the description as well. Check out the hats and the new
awesome.
We Own the West gear. I really like that one because I get to wear that here in my pseudo hometown of Denver, Colorado. I get to walk around with this on, and that makes me happy. People don't like me here, and it's fun. So I enjoy that. So thank you for all the super chats, all the support. You new members, welcome in. I think you're going to have a good time. Make sure if you are a new member and you got in at rookie or above, that you go to the Discord. It is open to the open room. There's one room that you can just join freely in any Discord account. Then you link your YouTube to it, and it lets you into all the member chats inside of it. That's how you unlock the power of our Discord. That is called Rogue Nation. You can find it on Discord, and FLDB can help us out as well. I think I have a link in the description, but if not, I will throw it there. Dan, thank you for taking time out on Avery's birthday. We appreciate it.
Of course, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed this hour and 20 on us. It's always fun to get in here, and sometimes we just kind of we do this. And we lose track of time because we love talking about football. So the fact that you guys are here listening to us jabber on, talk about football, I really can't say enough about the support of you all, and we thank you very much for it.
Yes. Have a great holiday. We'll have more content for you pre-recorded. We will be live again post-game on Christmas Eve after the Chiefs play. So have a great week. Get ready for that turkey or ham or whatever you're doing, and enjoy time with the daughter, Dan. Oh, wow. See, my wife wants me to do that, and I just can't do it. All right. You guys have a great one. We'll discuss food next time. Night.